Of course he'd cheat. Why would he ever choose me when I can barely choose my own socks in the morning? Lily muttered, staring at the ceiling of her tiny Manhattan apartment, as if it held the answer to life's cruelest jokes. The echo of betrayal was still fresh, sour on her tongue, yet somehow bitterly amusing. She let out a sarcastic laugh that barely disguised the hollow ache in her chest. The doorbell rang, and for a moment she hesitated, her mind spinning through the possibilities. The pizza delivery guy she hadn't called, a wrong number, a friend checking in. But the small rhythmic chime that followed didn't fit any pattern she recognized. When she opened the door, there she was, like a page ripped from a book Lily had never read. A stranger who didn't belong anywhere, but seemed like she might belong everywhere. Her name was Arya, though Lily wouldn't find that out until later. At first, she noticed the quiet confidence in Arya's stance, the way she seemed to fill the doorway without being invasive. Her black hair was cut short in a style that was daring but effortless, her emerald eyes catching the late afternoon sunlight streaming in from the street behind her. "I'm looking for someone who might need a distraction," Arya said, her voice a gentle tease but not mocking. It sounded like she had rehearsed it 100 times in her head, yet delivered it like a secret offered freely. Lily blinked. Her mind, a jumble of heartbreak and incredulity, struggled to process the invitation. And yet something about the stranger's presence made her feel alive in a way that had been impossible in the past week of tears and self-loathing. I don't know if Lily started, but Arya smiled, tilting her head in that almost imperceptible way that made her feel like she was both daring Lily and protecting her at the same time. "You don't have to decide now," Arya said, her voice softening. "Just let me buy you a coffee. No pressure, no tricks. Just two people talking." It was ridiculous. Lily knew it. But she found herself nodding, fetching her coat, muttering something about meeting just around the corner. And in that mundane walk to the corner cafe, the first thread of a connection began to weave itself quietly, invisibly, between them. Inside the cafe, the smell of roasted beans and warm pastries enveloped them. Arya chose a corner booth bathed in golden light, sliding into the seat across from Lily as if she had claimed it long before either of them had entered. There was a strange intimacy in the way she looked at Lily, a way that seemed to strip away pretense without judgment. "So you've been hurt," Arya said finally, like it was an observation rather than a question. Lily stiffened, surprised by the bluntness, yet something about the phrasing gentle, knowing made her want to spill the truth. "You could say that," she murmured, twisting her coffee cup nervously. "It's complicated. Betrayal, heartbreak, the whole Shakespearean tragedy thing." Arya laughed quietly, a sound that seemed to belong in the air around them. "Complicated is boring. Pain is boring. But surviving it, that's interesting." Lily felt her lips twitch, the faintest spark of amusement creeping past the pain. There was something magnetic about Arya, a force that drew her attention away from grief and shame and toward possibility. "You make it sound like I'm in a movie," Lily said, half smiling. "You are," Arya replied, leaning in slightly, eyes glinting. "You just haven't realized it yet." And in that moment Lily felt it. A flutter, a jolt of something dangerous and exhilarating, something that whispered maybe life could still be beautiful. Maybe love didn't have to hurt if it hadn't met the wrong person first. Days turned into weeks. Lily and Arya met almost every evening, sometimes in that same corner cafe, sometimes wandering through the streets of the city, the winter air biting at their cheeks, their laughter mingling with the sound of traffic and distant sirens. They shared stories, small confessions, accidental touches that lingered longer than necessary. Lily began to notice the details, the way Arya's eyes crinkled when she laughed, the slight tremor in her hands when she reached for something delicate, the way her voice could soften in a room of strangers to make Lily feel like the only person in the world. But the past lingered. Lily couldn't forget the betrayal that had opened the door for Arya's entrance into her life. She would wake up at night, heart racing, and find herself staring at the ceiling, imagining her husband's face, remembering the lies, the laughter that was never meant for her. And yet, even in the darkness, there was Arya light and warmth she hadn't thought she deserved. One evening Arya brought Lily to an old, tucked-away bookstore that smelled of dust and vanilla. They wandered the aisles, hands brushing, fingers intertwining briefly. Arya stopped at a shelf and pulled out a worn copy of poetry, offering it to Lily with a shy smile. For inspiration, Arya said. Or maybe, for courage. Lily turned the book over, reading a note scribbled in the margin. To the one who fears love again, let yourself begin. The words hit her like a splash of cold water. She looked at Arya, eyes wide, heart pounding. Did you write this? No, Arya said softly, leaning closer. But maybe it was meant for you. And that night, Lily realized that love wasn't about forgetting the past, it was about finding someone who made the future worth stepping into. Someone who could make her laugh again. Someone who could make her feel safe. And for the first time in weeks, maybe months, Lily allowed herself to imagine a life where she wasn't broken. The tension between them grew, unspoken but palpable. A brush of hands in the cafe, a shared scarf on a cold evening, the lingering gaze across a crowded room, small moments that made Lily ache with desire and fear all at once. She found herself thinking of Arya when she was alone, craving her voice, the warmth of her presence, the simplicity of being with someone who didn't judge her scars but seemed to embrace them. Then came the night that changed everything. Lily had just returned from a late meeting at work, exhausted, her heart still raw from memories she hadn't yet fully faced. Arya was waiting in her apartment, a single candle flickering on the kitchen counter. She had cooked something simple, pasta and salad, but the effort, the thoughtfulness moved Lily to the point of tears. I thought you might need a reminder, Arya said, her voice trembling slightly, betraying the calm exterior. A reminder that someone sees you, that someone wants you, that someone maybe even loves you. And that was the moment Lily realized she could no longer hold back. She crossed the small distance between them, heart in her throat, and kissed Arya with a desperation that was both fierce and tender. Everything she had felt, grief, anger, longing, condensed into that single act, and the world fell away. Arya responded immediately, her hands cradling Lily's face, her lips soft but insistent. For a moment they were suspended in a bubble of shared breath and warmth, two broken hearts finding solace in each other's arms. When they finally pulled back, Lily rested her forehead against Arya's. I don't know what this is, she whispered, voice raw, but I think I'm willing to find out. Arya smiled, brushing a strand of hair from Lily's eyes. Neither do I. But I think that's what makes it real. And so, amidst heartbreak and betrayal, amidst shadows that lingered in the corners of her mind, Lily discovered something unexpected. A love that was tender, brave, and entirely her own. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't easy. But it was theirs. And for the first time in what felt like forever, Lily laughed, not the hollow, sarcastic laugh that had greeted her betrayal, but a true, heartfelt laugh that echoed through her apartment and into her life. Somewhere between coffee dates, bookstore wanderings, and whispered confessions under street lamps, Lily and Arya found a rhythm. A rhythm that healed old wounds, that built trust from broken pieces, that transformed fear into courage. It wasn't the kind of love that erased the past, it was the kind that honored it, learned from it, and chose each other anyway. By the time spring arrived, the city felt different. The air seemed softer, the light warmer, the streets more forgiving. Lily walked hand in hand with Arya, heart lighter, soul braver, laughter spilling freely between them. Love, she realized, wasn't a lightning strike, it was a quiet sunrise, slow, steady, and utterly beautiful. The days that followed were a delicate dance of discovery. Lily found herself caught between moments of vulnerability and bursts of laughter, each one shared with Arya. Their connection was magnetic, intoxicating, and utterly disarming. Arya had a way of reading her moods before Lily even spoke, of knowing when to hold her close and when to let her breathe. One rainy afternoon, they found themselves at a small art gallery tucked between the bustling streets of Soho. Water pooled at their feet, reflecting the distorted neon lights from the shops across the street. Lily's fingers brushed against Arya's, and she felt an electric jolt shoot up her arm. Do you like art? Arya asked, her voice soft, almost teasing. I don't know. I've never really paid attention, Lily admitted. Her eyes wandered over the abstract paintings, their colors chaotic, wild, but somehow perfect. Sometimes, Arya said, tilting her head, the messy stuff tells you more about life than the neat, orderly things. She reached for Lily's hand, holding it gently as they moved from painting to painting. Lily's chest tightened, and she couldn't tell if it was fear or excitement or maybe both. She had spent so long building walls around her heart, convinced that love was a luxury she didn't deserve, that the simplest gesture of holding hands now felt revolutionary. By the time they left the gallery, the rain had stopped, leaving the streets glistening like wet silver. Arya draped her scarf around Lily's shoulders, their fingers lingering in a subtle, intimate touch. "You're different," Lily said quietly, her eyes tracing the curve of Arya's smile. "In what way?" Arya asked, curiosity sparking in her green eyes. "You make me feel alive again. Like maybe I can take a risk without falling apart," Lily admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. Arya squeezed her hand, a silent acknowledgement of the shared vulnerability between them. Despite the growing closeness, Lily's past was never far behind. Her ex-husband Mark had been a ghost that haunted the edges of her life, a constant reminder of the betrayal that had shattered her. She avoided talking about him, avoided remembering the late nights filled with lies and the smug way he had smiled at his own deception. Yet every time she saw a man in the street who resembled him, or heard a laugh that reminded her of his, the old ache resurfaced. Arya noticed the shadows in Lily's eyes, the moments when her laughter faltered. She didn't press, didn't force explanations. She simply held space, a constant presence that slowly made Lily feel safe enough to unpack the heaviness she carried. One evening as they walked along the Brooklyn Bridge under a sky heavy with clouds, Lily finally allowed herself to voice a fragment of her pain. "I hated him," she admitted, staring down at the water. "Not just for what he did, but for how easily he made me feel invisible. Like I wasn't enough." Arya's grip on her hand tightened. "You were enough, Lily. You always have been. He was just too blind to see it." "I don't know if I believe that," Lily murmured. "You will," Arya said, her voice firm but gentle. "And I'll help you get there." The sincerity in her words, the unwavering presence, was like a balm on Lily's bruised soul. She leaned into Arya, resting her head against her shoulder, letting the bridge and the rushing wind carry away some of the weight she had been carrying for far too long. Life with Arya was a series of quiet miracles, small moments that reminded Lily that happiness could be found in the most unexpected places. They cooked together in Lily's small kitchen, laughter filling the tiny apartment as sauce spilled onto the counter and flour dusted their hands. They stayed up late, talking about everything and nothing, sharing dreams and fears, their conversations punctuated by laughter, and the occasional silence that spoke louder than words. Yet, even in this newfound joy, doubts lingered. Lily often questioned whether she was worthy of love, whether the intensity of her feelings for Arya was real, or simply a fleeting distraction from her heartbreak. She would catch herself overthinking, imagining scenarios where Arya might leave, imagining the sting of betrayal repeating itself. Arya, perceptive as ever, noticed these moments. One night as they lay side by side in Lily's bed, the city lights filtering through the blinds, Arya reached for her hand. "Why do you doubt us?" she asked, voice soft but with an edge of frustration. "Because I've been hurt before," Lily admitted, her voice trembling. "And I don't want to go through that again." Arya turned to face her, cupping Lily's face in her hands. "You won't," she said firmly. "I'm not him. And you don't have to be afraid. I'm not going anywhere." The intensity in her eyes, the absolute certainty, pierced through Lily's defenses. For the first time in a long time, she felt the possibility of surrender, not the reckless kind, but the kind that was measured, deliberate, and profoundly hopeful. As winter turned to spring, their relationship deepened. They discovered each other's quirks and imperfections, the little habits that made them human. Arya laughed when Lily hummed off-key to songs in the shower. Lily teased Arya about her obsession with meticulously organized bookshelves. They shared secrets in whispers, promises in fleeting touches, and dreams in quiet confessions under the stars. One particularly warm evening, they found themselves on the rooftop of Lily's apartment building. The city sprawled beneath them in a mosaic of lights. Arya pulled a small notebook from her bag, scribbling something quickly before handing it to Lily. "What's this?" Lily asked, flipping it open. "Thoughts," Arya replied with a mischievous grin. "Poems, maybe. Or confessions. You decide." Lily read, and her heart swelled. Each word was carefully chosen, each line a reflection of the love and admiration Arya held for her. There was humor, tenderness, vulnerability, a mirror of everything Lily felt, but had struggled to express. I don't know what to say, Lily whispered, eyes glistening. Say nothing, Arya said, leaning close. Just feel it. That's enough. And Lily did. She felt it, every pulse, every heartbeat. She leaned into Arya, their foreheads touching, and in that closeness, the city below and the ghosts of the past faded into insignificance. But life, as it often does, was never simple. One afternoon, as Lily was leaving work, she received a call from her ex-husband. Mark's voice was smug, patronizing, a cruel reminder of the wound she was still healing. He demanded she return some shared property, a thinly veiled attempt to assert control. Lily felt a surge of anger, but also fear, the kind that creeps in when past trauma meets present happiness. She hesitated, unsure of how to respond, until Arya appeared beside her, in her mind, calm, unyielding. She took a deep breath and dialed Mark's number. Her voice was steady, controlled, infused with the strength she hadn't known she possessed. I am not your property, Mark, she said firmly, and I am not going to let you dictate my life anymore. I am moving on, and so should you. Hanging up, she felt a weight lift from her shoulders. Arya was there when she returned home, arms open, ready to embrace her. Lily collapsed into her embrace, tears of relief and triumph mingling. You did it, Arya whispered, pressing a gentle kiss to her temple. I did, Lily said, her voice shaky but triumphant. Because of you. You helped me see that I'm stronger than I thought. Arya smiled, brushing wet strands of hair from Lily's face. No. You always were. I just reminded you. Their love grew in quiet, persistent ways. Sunday mornings were spent in bed, tangled in sheets, talking about everything and nothing. Afternoon walks turned into impromptu adventures through the city, each corner revealing a new discovery, each shared glance a promise of a future together. One evening, as cherry blossoms began to bloom along the streets of the Upper East Side, Arya took Lily to a small, secluded park. The petals drifted in the breeze, delicate and ephemeral. Arya reached into her pocket and pulled out a small, hand-carved pendant. I want you to have this, she said softly, placing it around Lily's neck. Something to remember that even when life gets messy, even when things hurt, there's love. There's us. Lily's eyes filled with tears, her fingers tracing the pendant's smooth surface. I don't know what to say. Then don't say anything, Arya replied, resting her forehead against Lily's. Just feel it. And Lily did. She felt the warmth, the love, the unspoken promises. In that moment, she realized that life, with all its heartbreak and betrayal, had led her to this. To Arya. To love that was unexpected, overwhelming, and entirely perfect. Spring turned into summer, and the city thrummed with life around them. Their love was no longer fragile or hesitant, it was a steady, unyielding force, a refuge from the chaos of the world. Lily's laughter returned in full, unrestrained and joyous, and Arya's eyes sparkled with the same mischievous warmth that had captivated her from the very first meeting. And in the quiet moments, late nights on the couch, early mornings with coffee in hand, soft whispers in the dark, they both knew that they had found something rare and precious. Something that would not be defined by past mistakes, by fear, or by doubt. Something that was entirely, unapologetically theirs. Summer in New York had a way of magnifying everything: the heat, the laughter, the love. Lily and Arya's bond had deepened into something unshakable, yet life, as it always did, had a few last lessons to teach. It began with a simple misunderstanding, the kind that escalates when past wounds are still tender. One evening, Lily returned from work to find Arya unusually quiet, her eyes distant. The warmth they had shared all season seemed absent, replaced by a fragile tension. Are you okay? Lily asked, setting her bag down. Arya hesitated, biting her lip. I just need some space tonight. The words cut, though Lily understood in part. She knew Arya had her own past, her own complexities, yet the fear of losing her flared anyway. Okay, Lily whispered, trying not to let panic creep in. I'll be here when you're ready. Arya nodded, but the air between them felt fragile, taut like a string pulled too tight. Lily wandered the apartment, trying to soothe her nerves, trying to silence the voice in her head that whispered of old betrayals and heartbreaks repeating. The next morning, Arya appeared at Lily's door, her expression a mixture of apology and uncertainty. "I'm sorry," Arya said softly. "I didn't mean to push you away. Sometimes I feel like I have to be perfect for you. And I forget that love doesn't work that way." Lily stepped forward, taking her hand. "You don't have to be perfect," she said, her voice firm but gentle. "I don't love perfection. I love you. All of you, the messy, the brilliant, the complicated." Arya's eyes filled with tears, and Lily pulled her into a hug that spoke of forgiveness, understanding, and the kind of love that had survived storms both internal and external. They held each other for a long moment, letting the silence settle around them like a blanket, and when they finally pulled back, the tension had eased, replaced by a quiet, profound relief. That night they ventured out to Coney Island, letting the ocean breeze whip through their hair as laughter and salt water mixed in the air. They rode the Ferris wheel, hands entwined, and Lily felt her heart soar higher than the car they occupied. From above, the lights of the amusement park glittered like a constellation, a universe that belonged only to them. "You know," Arya said, leaning her head on Lily's shoulder, "I never thought I'd find someone who sees me. Really sees me." Lily smiled, brushing her fingers through Arya's hair. "I think we were both looking for that, weren't we?" Arya nodded, eyes glistening with a combination of joy and vulnerability. "I was afraid I'd never find it. I was afraid love would only hurt." "But it doesn't have to hurt," Lily whispered. "Not with the right person." And in that simple statement, the kind that felt more like a promise than an observation, the weight of the past lifted further, leaving space for hope, for possibility, for love that was unafraid to flourish. Summer faded into the gentle warmth of early autumn, the city taking on hues of amber and gold. Lily and Arya had settled into a rhythm, a life punctuated by small joys: Sunday morning pancakes, walks through Central Park, late-night conversations on rooftops where the city's heartbeat became a lullaby. Yet, life's complications never fully disappear. One afternoon, as Lily was preparing for an important presentation at work, her phone buzzed with a notification that made her stomach twist. A message from Mark. The words were sharp, demanding, an attempt to reassert control over something Lily had already claimed as her sheer peace, her independence. Fear and anger surged, but this time Lily was not alone. Arya stood beside her, hands on her shoulders, grounding her. "You don't have to face this alone," Arya said, her voice steady and unwavering. "We'll handle it together." And together they did. Lily responded with calm, measured words, asserting her boundaries and reclaiming her life. When she finally set the phone down, she felt a surge of empowerment that had been absent for years. Arya squeezed her hand, a silent acknowledgement of the strength they found in each other. As October arrived, the city transformed into a palette of reds, oranges, and yellows. Lily and Arya spent weekends wandering the streets, sipping coffee, laughing as they chased each other through fallen leaves. Their love was no longer tentative, it was bold, visible, a beacon of hope in a city that often moved too fast for hearts to catch up. One crisp evening, Arya led Lily to a small botanical garden tucked away in the East Village. Lanterns glowed softly along the winding paths, casting a warm golden light over the autumnal foliage. Arya paused, taking Lily's hands in hers, eyes serious yet tender. "Lily," she began, voice trembling slightly, "these past months with you, they've changed me. You've changed me. I've never felt seen, loved, and safe all at once. And I don't want to imagine a life without you in it." Lily's breath caught, heart racing. "Arya," she whispered, unsure if words could capture the depth of feeling coursing through her. "I love you," Arya said, tears glistening in her eyes. "I know life isn't perfect. I know we'll have challenges, but I want to face them with you. All of them. Will you be with me? Forever?" Time seemed to slow as Lily processed the weight of the moment. Her chest ached with emotion, a mixture of relief, joy, and certainty she hadn't allowed herself in years. Slowly, deliberately, she nodded. "Yes," she whispered, voice trembling with emotion. "Yes, Arya. I will." And in that moment, beneath the lantern-lit trees, the city's noise faded, leaving only the sound of two hearts beating in unison. They embraced, a quiet, profound celebration of survival, of hope, of love that had emerged stronger than heartbreak. In the following weeks, they planned a life together, weaving their routines, dreams, and hopes into a shared tapestry. Friends noticed the radiance in Lily's smile, The mischievous sparkle in Arya's eyes, the subtle unspoken gestures that spoke of a bond forged through both joy and pain. They faced challenges of coursework stress, family expectations, the occasional reminder of past wounds, but each difficulty became a testament to their resilience, to the depth of their commitment. Where once Lily had felt fear and despair, she now felt courage, buoyed by the unwavering love of someone who had chosen her, wholly and unconditionally. Autumn gave way to winter, the city wrapped in a blanket of snow. Lily and Arya spent the evenings curled up by the fireplace in Lily's apartment, sipping hot chocolate, reading to each other, sharing whispered dreams and quiet laughter. The world outside might be chaotic, unpredictable and unforgiving, but inside their small apartment, there was warmth, safety and love, a sanctuary they had built together. One snowy night, Arya pressed a kiss to Lily's forehead, murmuring, "We made it through the worst of it. And now, it's just us." Lily smiled, her heart full, eyes shining. "Just us," she echoed, feeling the words settle deep into her soul. And in that quiet moment, with snow falling gently against the windows and the city lights twinkling like distant stars, Lily knew she had found what she had been searching for all along: not perfection, not escape, not fleeting affection, but a love that was steadfast, tender, and wholly transformative. With Arya by her side, she no longer feared the past, nor did she doubt the future. She had been broken, betrayed, and hurt, but she had also been seen, cherished, and loved. And that made all the difference. Their story was not one of fairy tale simplicity. It was one of resilience, vulnerability, and the quiet, powerful truth that love, real, unshakable love, could emerge even from the shadows of betrayal. It was messy, beautiful, and entirely theirs. And as they held each other close, hearts entwined, Lily whispered softly, "Thank you for finding me." Arya smiled, brushing a strand of hair from Lily's face. "No," she said gently. "Thank you for letting me." And in that mutual acknowledgement, in the soft warmth of shared breath and intertwined hands, they found the ending and the beginning they had both been longing for. The city outside continued its relentless pace, indifferent to individual stories, yet within the quiet cocoon of their love, Lily and Arya discovered a world entirely their own, a world defined not by past betrayals, but by courage, compassion, and a love that refused to be anything less than extraordinary. Winter arrived quietly, blanketing New York City in soft white layers. The streets glimmered under street lamps, the usual chaos of the city muted by the snow. Inside Lily's apartment, the world felt distant. The only thing that mattered was the warmth of Arya's hand in hers, the slow, steady rhythm of a heartbeat she had grown to recognize as her own. The past months had been a journey of unexpected twists and tender discoveries. Lily had confronted her fears, faced the ghosts of her betrayal, and slowly, with Arya's unwavering support, reclaimed pieces of herself she thought were lost forever. Arya, too, had revealed her vulnerabilities, the scars of past disappointments, and together they had built a love that felt like both refuge and adventure. On a particularly snowy evening, Arya led Lily to the small rooftop of their building, a space they had come to love. Blankets were spread out, mugs of hot chocolate steaming in the winter air, lanterns casting a warm golden glow. Snowflakes drifted lazily down, landing softly on their coats and hair, a quiet celebration of the season. "I never thought I'd love winter," Lily said, pulling her scarf tighter around her neck. "It's always felt cold and unforgiving. But with you, it feels like magic." Arya smiled, brushing a lock of hair from Lily's face. "Maybe winter just needed the right company," she said softly. Her eyes, luminous against the snow-dusted night, held an intensity that made Lily's heart flutter. They sat in silence for a while, sipping their chocolate, watching the city glow beneath them. The world seemed to slow, allowing them a rare moment of peace. Then Arya reached into her coat pocket, pulling out a small, carefully wrapped package. "I have something for you," she said, her voice tinged with nervous excitement. Lily took it, curiosity piqued. The wrapping paper was delicate, silver with tiny etched stars. She tore it open to reveal a pendant, shaped like two intertwined crescent moons, smooth and glowing softly in the lantern light. "I wanted you to have this," Arya said, her voice almost a whisper. "Something to remind you that even in the coldest times there's warmth, there's love, and there's me." Lily's fingers traced the shape of the pendant, her chest tightening with emotion. Tears threatened, but she smiled through them, leaning into Arya's shoulder. "It's perfect," she whispered. "Just like this. Just like us." Arya wrapped her arms around Lily, pulling her close. "We've been through so much," she murmured. "And we're still here. Together." "Yes," Lily said, pressing her cheek to Arya's. "And I wouldn't trade a second of it. Not even the hard parts." Over the following weeks, they continued to build their life together. Winter walks through Central Park became rituals, punctuated by laughter, snowball fights, and warm embraces. They discovered small joys in mundane moments, Arya leaving notes in Lily's coat pocket, Lily making Arya's favorite soup without asking, the quiet contentment of shared mornings with sunlight streaming through frost-laced windows. Their love deepened not through grand gestures but through persistence, understanding, and patience. Every challenge, from work stress to lingering insecurities, was met together. When Lily felt shadows of doubt creep in, Arya was there to anchor her. When Arya's own fears emerged, Lily became the steady force, a reminder that love was not just feeling, it was choosing, every day, to stand together. One chilly evening they hosted a small dinner at their apartment, inviting a few close friends. The table was warm with candlelight, the air filled with laughter and soft music. Lily watched Arya across the table, her expression softened by love and amusement as she animatedly recounted a story. The sight made Lily's heart swell. "You look happy," one friend remarked. "I am," Lily replied simply. "More than I thought I could be." Arya reached across the table, squeezing her hand under the candlelight, and Lily felt the familiar jolt, the connection that had begun months ago in a corner cafe, now fully realized, unbreakable. Yet love, as they both knew, wasn't merely about joy, it was also about courage, vulnerability, and honesty. One night, as snow fell heavily outside, Arya turned to Lily, her face serious. "There's something I've been wanting to say," she began. Lily's heart beat faster, uncertainty flickering across her mind. "I love you," Arya said, "but it was more than that. I love you in ways I can't always explain. And I want to build a life with you. Not someday. Now. I don't want to wait." Lily's eyes welled with tears, her fingers trembling as they found Arya's. "Arya, I feel the same. More than I ever imagined I could feel again." Arya smiled, reaching for the pendant she had given Lily weeks ago. Then, "Will you take this next step with me?" Lily nodded, her heart pounding. "Yes. 1,000 times yes." The next months were filled with quiet celebrations of love. They moved into a larger apartment, one with a small balcony where flowers thrived even in winter. They filled it with memories, photographs, mementos of trips, and little notes tucked into corners for each other to find. Each day the city outside continued its relentless pace, but inside, Lily and Arya carved a sanctuary, a world built solely on trust, affection, and shared dreams. Spring arrived, and with it a feeling of renewal. Cherry blossoms lined the streets, petals drifting in the breeze like gentle reminders of life's fleeting beauty. On a Saturday morning they walked hand in hand, the world around them awash in pink and gold. They found a quiet park, a spot they had discovered months before. Arya turned to Lily, her eyes shining with mischief and love. "Remember when we first came here?" she asked. Lily laughed softly. "I do. I was nervous, awkward, probably overthinking everything." Arya reached for her hand, fingers intertwining. "And I knew then that you were the one I wanted to figure everything out with. Every fear, every dream, every messy, beautiful part of life. With you." Lily's chest tightened, tears welling in her eyes. "I feel the same," she whispered. "You make everything possible." Arya pulled her close, forehead resting against Lily's. "Then let's keep making it possible," she murmured. Every day. Months turned into years. Their love matured, evolving from the fiery intensity of first discovery into something steady, nurturing, and unbreakable. They celebrated anniversaries with quiet rituals, handwritten letters, homemade dinners, walks under street lamps. They supported each other through professional achievements, family challenges, and the occasional heartbreak that life inevitably delivered. And through it all, their connection remained as electric as the first time their hands had brushed in the corner cafe. Every glance, every touch, every word carried the weight of shared history and the promise of a future built together. One summer evening, as the city hummed around them, Lily and Arya sat on their balcony, watching the sunset behind skyscrapers. The sky was a riot of colors: gold, orange, and purple, mirroring the depth and vibrancy of their love. "Do you ever think about how far we've come?" Lily asked, her voice soft. "All the time," Arya replied, leaning her head on Lily's shoulder. "And I still can't believe we found each other." "We were broken," Lily said, "but we're whole now." Arya smiled, lifting her head to meet Lily's gaze. "We built something stronger than brokenness. Something beautiful. Something ours." And as the city lights flickered on, casting a gentle glow over their entwined hands, Lily and Arya understood the truth they had discovered together. Love was not about avoiding pain, nor was it about perfection. It was about choosing each other, day after day, despite the fears, despite the shadows, despite the past. It was about laughter in the rain, whispered confessions in the dark, and the quiet certainty of a hand held in the storm. It was about finding someone who saw you, truly saw you, and deciding without hesitation that you would walk through life together side by side. And in that realization, Lily and Arya found their forever. The snow fell softly on the city, the streets alive with light and movement, but within the walls of their home, there was only warmth, love, and the gentle, enduring rhythm of hearts beating as one. They had survived heartbreak. They had faced fear. And they had chosen each other over and over again. In the end, that choice, the conscious, deliberate act of love, was all that mattered. And as Lily pressed a kiss to Arya's temple, feeling the steady beat of her heart, she whispered, "Thank you for loving me." Arya smiled, brushing a strand of hair from Lily's face. "No," she said, voice soft and certain. "Thank you for letting me." And together, in the quiet of a city that never slept, two hearts beat as one, wrapped in love, laughter, and the infinite promise of tomorrow. Thank you for listening. If you find it interesting, please like and subscribe to follow the next stories.